And I'm pleased and honored to have in the studio with me Craig Holman, PhD, Dr. Holman.
Glad to be here,
Welcome
Tom.
to the program. He is Public Citizens Government Affairs Lobbyist, previously the Senior Policy Analyst at the Brennan Center, another great organization. But Citizen.org is your home right now.
Yes.
And tell me what you're up to.
It's an amazing campaign that we've got set up that's really going to occur mostly tomorrow. What we're doing is we're trying to get the president to, with a stroke of the pen, open up the books on all the dark money that has flowed into our elections ever since the Citizens United decision in 2010. As you know, since 2010, we've had about $600 million in money flowing into our elections that we have no idea where it came from.
Right.
And
we're not even sure that it's just that amount of money.
Yeah, we're not even sure of that. But we do know there's been this huge increase in spending from sources of funds that we don't see. Just to highlight how big an impact it had right after Citizens United that ruled that 5 justices ruled that corporations shall be treated as people under the First Amendment. We saw a 4-fold increase in outside spending in the 2010 elections. And that was just corporations for the first time, like dipping their toes in the political waters, saying, can we really get away with this? And then they realized they can not only get away with it, they can also hide their identities by laundering this money through nonprofit groups. So once they realized that, in the 2012 elections, we saw another 4-fold increase.
Katie, bar the door.
So this is dark money taking over our elections. Once we go into 2016 elections, I mean, at this point, we know of $600 million in unknown money,
right,
and every election has broken that record. 2016 is going to be a watershed election when it comes to dark money, unless we can get President Obama to pull out his pen and issue an executive order requiring that corporations that do political spending and receive a federal contract disclose their political spending. Right. With the stroke of the pen, the White House could actually open up the books on all this dark money.
Or much of it.
Or much of it.
Yeah. And my understanding is that that $600 million figure structure, renting offices, hiring people, there are even some who suggest that it is larger and more effective right now than the Republican Party, certainly in many states. Is that included in that? Is that measured, or is that dark money? Is that totally below the radar money?
That falls outside the radar. Where we can identify $600 million in unaccounted for money is in terms of what political committees report as their expenditures. Those will usually be TV ads, radio ads, flyers, and their political committees. Right. So these are the committees that are reporting expenditures, including nonprofits that do something like election communications or independent expenditures. So we know about that money being spent. But when it comes to having a network of secretive organizations doing on-the-ground work, and they try to claim that it's not political electioneering, it's more issue advocacy,
right,
that will fall completely under the radar. So we do have much more dark money than that $600 million figure. Right. It's actually it's startling. What I find even more startling is the fact that we haven't been able to get any particular agency or Congress to actually agree with the American public. When you do public opinion polls of Americans, Republicans, Democrats, and independents, you'll find 80% of Americans say, first of all, corporations have too much power in our elections, but all this spending must be public. It must be transparent. Right. We haven't been able to get Congress to pass the Disclose Act to impose transparency. We are pushing the Securities and Exchange Commission to impose transparency on publicly traded corporations. And now we're pushing the White House to issue this executive order. And we just might get this executive order, actually.
Does any of this have anything to do with the posters that I saw in Union Station yesterday that say, "Where is Mary Jo White"?
Yes, it does.
Tell me about this.
This is fantastic. About 2 years ago, 10 law professors filed a petition with the Securities Exchange Commission asking SEC to impose a transparency requirement on publicly traded corporations.
Right. The SEC basically regulates any company that sells stock in the public marketplace.
That's right. And it has the authority to require those companies to disclose their political spending if they see it relevant to shareholders, which it is. I mean, it's shareholder money.
Sure.
However, the SEC has, even though they've been inclined to support this idea, they don't put it on their agenda. Well, for 2 years, we've been doing very strong, right in the Metro Station in Union Station, where all the SEC commissioners come to work.
I walked by it this morning.
And it's saying, where is our hero? Where's our hero, Mary Jo White? You could actually open up the books on this money. Where is Mary Jo White?
Right.
We're not trying to be mean to Mary Jo White. We're just trying to elevate the issue on her agenda.
Right.
And this might do it.
And just to kind of clarify this all and talk about the solution to the problems that John Paul Stevens identified in his dissent. He said simply mandate transparency by legislative action.
Right.
If that was to happen, that is not something the president could do. That would have to be done by Congress if it just covered everything. However, the president has the authority to impose or define standards for behavior for corporations that get government money, that have government contracts. And Mary Jo White, as the head of the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, has the power to impose regulations or control the behavior within certain limitations of companies that sell their stock on the New York Stock Exchange and other stock exchanges. So those two are not all the companies in America, and they're certainly not all the billionaires in America. What percentage of the political money that's out there do you think would be captured by either of those, respectively?
By the executive order, we know a real lot of it would be captured. We've done a rather brief analysis of the 41 largest corporate political spenders. And of those 41 largest, 33 are federal contractors. So we're talking about capturing a huge swath of it. Think about it. I mean, these federal contractors tend to be the largest corporations in the U.S.
Sure.
And they're the ones who have the most at stake when it comes to trying to influence government contracts. And so they're the ones who tend to be the most politically active. But you are right, Tom. I mean, the best way of doing this would be to get Congress to pass the Disclose Act. Right. Then we'd have full donor disclosure of all the money everywhere. But
Hartmann Program.
More information, go to citizen.org. And where is MJW?
The other one?
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. We'll get. We're back on the air. And welcome back. Thom Hartmann here with you. Craig Holman with me, the government affairs lobbyist for Public Citizen. You said 33 of the 44 largest spenders were government contractors. I'm assuming that all of those 44 are publicly traded company or not. I mean, Koch Industries, for example, is not a publicly traded company. There are some very, very large companies in this country that are not publicly traded, although I believe Koch Industries has government contracts, don't they?
Koch Industry does. And by the way, the Koch Industries would be captured by the executive order.
Right. But not by the SEC.
Right, not by the SEC. I haven't done an analysis of how many of their 41 corporations that we looked at, the 41 big spenders, as to whether they're all publicly traded. Very probably most of them are. When you're talking about the big corporations, they tend to be the publicly traded corporations, and they also tend to be government contractors.
Right.
This would get a whole lot of that dark money out in the open. But I really do want to emphasize what's happening to I can.
Yeah.
We're presenting a petition of 5 that's been signed so far by 500,000 Americans, 500,000 Americans. And if anyone else wants to sign before we present it on Thursday, go to citizen.org, and it's right there on our front page. You'll be able to sign it. And we will be presenting it to the White House in a rally outside the White House at noon on April 2nd, tomorrow, Thursday. And along with presenting the 500,000 signatures, we also have a 15-foot inflatable flashlight that we're going to use as a prop for casting light on all this dark money. So it's going to be quite a rally. There's not only the federal rally here at the White House, though. We have about 52 local rallies taking place all over the country, from Juneau, Alaska, to Minneapolis, Minnesota, to Albany, New York, all over the place. And if anyone wants to participate in one of the local rallies, if you live in those areas, check out the website getmoneyoutaction.org, and that'll tell you where all the different local rallies are happening and at what time. Please join. Sign our petition and check out if there's a local rally near you that you can participate in.
Is that Where is Mary Jo White? Is that yours or is that somebody else's?
That's a separate web page. It's also managed by Public Citizen, and that's whereismjw.com. That's focusing on the Securities Exchange
Commission. SEC, which is not what you're doing tomorrow. It's a kind of parallel track. Good and important stuff.
That's right. I mean, we're pursuing every avenue we can. We're going to get transparency of money in politics sooner or later. Yeah. And one of these avenues, if not all of the avenues, are.
Wouldn't it be better just to get the money out of politics?
Well, it would be nice to have public financing, but right now we have to just get transparency. Yeah. Transparency is the floor upon which the rest of the house is built. And if we don't know where this money's coming from, it's very hard to build the rest of a campaign finance system without knowing that. Right. We need to first get the floor, and the floor is transparency. So that's our objective right now. Right.
Are there any real champions for this? Who are the people in the House? Well, we're hitting a break here. I'll ask you right after the break. It's 20 minutes past the hour. Craig Holman is with us from Public Citizen, citizen.org. Stick around. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Thom Hartmann here with you. Craig Holman with us to the bottom of the hour, and then we'll get back to your calls on all the various issues of the day. Craig, with Public Citizen, citizens.org, you've got this website, getmoneyoutaction.org. You've got a major event going on here in Washington, D.C., and literally from Alaska to the East Coast tomorrow. Tell us about it.
There are rallies going on all around the country. First of all, the one here in Washington, D.C. is at noon tomorrow, April 2nd. We're presenting a petition with 500,000 signatures from citizens across the United States. And if anyone wants to sign, let me repeat, go to citizen.org, and it's right on our front page. Please sign before tomorrow at noon so we can present your name with 500,000 others. And then we're blowing up a 15-foot inflatable flashlight just as a prop to emphasize, all we're asking is shining the light on this dark money. And then all around the country, there's about 52, the last I saw, local rallies taking place from Alaska to California to Minnesota to New York, literally every state. And you can find a local rally that you could join and participate in on our webpage at getmoneyoutaction.org. That posts where all the local rallies are.
Getmoneyoutaction.org. We'll get that up on our website if it's not already there, and push it out in our newsletter as well. Great stuff. Who in Congress is on your side? Who in Congress is in opposition to you? If we have people who are watching or listening in a particular state, who do they call? Do they call their senators? Do they call their members of the House of Representatives? Should they call the White House comment line, which I think is 202, what is it, 456-1111, as I recall?
I believe it is.
Yeah. And because you're the executive action here, you're pushing this to the White House, but sometimes the White House gets pushed by members of Congress as well. What's in addition? Let's say somebody's already signed your petition, and they can either come to town or show up for one of the gigs that's happening tomorrow or not. But what else can they do?
You know, you ask who are the champions in Congress. This is the only place where this issue is partisan. Only on Capitol Hill and only in the Capitol are all Republicans opposed to transparency, or almost all Republicans, and all Democrats supporting transparency.
Really?
When you take a look at public opinion polls across the country, there is hardly any difference between Republicans, Democrats, and independents. Everyone wants transparency of money in politics. Only on the Hill is it partisan. And the nature of the partisanship is amazing. We were almost getting this executive order back in 2011, and the congressional Republicans rallied and passed riders on appropriations bills prohibiting Obama from signing this executive order. And
Really?
the Democrats support it, Republicans oppose it, but that's only on Capitol Hill. So if you want to call and try to apply some pressure, really, if you know a Republican member of Congress, or if your member is Republican, that makes the biggest difference right there.
Right.
All the Democrats are already on board. Senator Whitehouse, to play on the White House theme, I guess. He's one of our champions on the Senate side.
Sure. He's a Democrat.
Representative Van Hollen is our champion on the House side. But every Democrat really supports it, and almost every Republican is marching in lockstep against this.
I realize your organization is not partisan, and so you don't feel a need to react to this, but one of my mantras on this program is that in the Republican Party there are basically three groups of people. There are the rich people, there are the paid shills for the rich people, and there are the suckers. And the job of the paid shills for the rich people is to keep the suckers voting in the interests of the rich people and against their own interests. And the rich people are the ones who are passing all that money to those Republicans. So, if my analysis of the modern day Republican Party, this is not Dwight Eisenhower's Republican Party, if my analysis of it is accurate, that would make some sense for the partisan divide that you are talking about, which seems very unfortunate.
Except only on Capitol Hill. I really want to emphasize that.
Yeah.
Because,
Republicans
do favor transparency. It's only the members of Congress who are Republicans who don't.
Yeah.
And so they can be perhaps that's where the influence needs to be applied. By the way, I'd like to digress a little bit. There was a news story that broke just about 2 days ago where there was this millionaire. This just shows how bad the money in politics is getting, and how far we've gone towards deregulation since Citizens United. A millionaire, her name is Terry Neese, was a major bundler for the Romney campaign in 2012, and she was lamenting how now the money's getting so big that all the candidates are ignoring her and all the regular millionaires and just going towards the multimillionaires and the billionaires.
Right.
And she's feeling left out. So the whole process here.
Yeah, she was feeling sorry for herself, as it were. Okay, so to just recap, Craig Holman we have just a minute here to the end of the segment. Craig Holman is with us. He's with Public Citizen. Citizen.org is the website. Get over to citizen.org right now. Sign that petition, which will be delivered to the president tomorrow, or at least to the White House, presumably to get to the president, right?
Yes. We've been working with the White House staff as well.
Oh, great.
And the White House staff tends to be interested in this, although they can't commit themselves one way or the other.
Right.
So we actually got a chance. We have a chance here.
This is spectacular. And getmoneyoutaction.org if you want to participate in one of these events tomorrow outside Washington, D.C., anywhere else in the country, or even in D.C., presumably, right?
Yes,
yeah,
that's right.
Okay. So, and that's where you can find out what's happening in your town. You can sign up. You can figure out where the details are, how all that sort of stuff, and participate. If this were to happen, what kind of timeline do you figure we're looking at?
It could be immediate. And an executive order would, as soon as it's signed, it takes effect. Now, the executive order would have to be designed in a way because of these Republican legislative obstructions.
Right.
They've prohibited disclosure. Can you imagine this? They've prohibited disclosure of political spending by contractors while they're negotiating a contract. But once they get a contract, then the executive order can kick in and say, now you
You're
disclose
listening
the
to
money
the
you
Thom
have.
Hartmann Program.
So
Call
it can take effect.
202-536-2370.
Craig Holman, citizen.org, and getmoneyoutaction.org. Get over, check it out. Thanks so much, Craig, for being
Yeah, pleasure. Thanks.
Great talk.